very warm welcome. You are watching JanataTelevision and this is the English Bulletin with me, Anustha Acharya. The top stories first. Ruling parties decided to cooperate until the upcoming election. Coalition partners from 5-party coordination committee. Tarai region gripped by Chhath festival. Today is the second day of the grand festival. Aerothai to conduct calibration flight at Gautam Buddha Airport. Test flights to be held from November 22. Heavy rains bring Indian city to standstill. Chennai records the highest rainfall since 2015. And India's cricket coach defends player after T20 loss, says players are physically and mentally drained. And now the news in detail. The ruling parties have decided to give continuity to the coalition government until the upcoming election. The ruling alliance has decided to form a 5-party coordination committee to assist the government in its operation. A meeting of the ruling parties held at the Prime Minister's official residence yesterday evening constituted an 11-member coordination committee, according to CPN Maoist Center leader Narayan Kazi Shrestha. Shrestha said that 5 ruling parties will have 2 members, each and spokesperson of the Government of Nepal and Minister for Communications and Information Technology in the community. Each party would lead the committee of 2 months and the Prime Minister would attend the meeting convened by the committee. Nepali Congress would coordinate the first meeting of the committee. The leader Ramchandra Paudel would lead the first meeting, Shrestha added. The purpose of this committee is to effectively run the alliance and support the government, not to run the government but to coordinate the parties, Shrestha said. The fervor of the Chhath festival has gripped in Mithila region. People's mobility has upped in around the region during the 4-day grand festival where the sun god is worshipped with devotion. A report. Today is the second day of Chhath festival, which formally started from today. This festival begins on the 4th day of the bright half of the lunar calendar in the month of Kartik as per the Hindu tradition. Devotees give up impure food such as boiled rice, millet, lentil and flesh on the eve of the festival. There is a tradition of fasting on the 3rd day after consuming regular meal. Songs are being chanted signifying the sun god and Chhati Devi now in the Mithila region. With the advent of the Chhath, the premises of pond and river banks having religious importance in Mithila are cleaned and decorated. The festival has increased mobility of the people in marketplaces and public areas. Devotees are seen busy in managing items for Chhath celebrations across the Mithila region. The Chhath festival is observed as a common cultural symbol of Tarai and Madhes. The festival is dedicated to the sun god with offerings made to the rising and setting sun. It is observed for 4 days from the 4th day of the bright half of lunar calendar till the 7th day in the month of Kartik. It usually falls between October and November in the Gregorian calendar. The sun, considered as the god of energy and of the life force, is worshipped during the Chhath festival to promote well-being, prosperity and progress. The Aeronautical Radio of Thailand Limited, Aerothai, has been granted permission to conduct calibration flight at the Gautam Buddha International Airport in Lumbini province. Aerothai is a state-owned enterprise under the Ministry of Transport of the Government of Thailand. It was founded in 1948 by airlines with the consent of the Royal Thai government to provide the air traffic control and aeronautical communication services for airline operation. The Civil Aviation Authority of Nepal has given permission to Aerothai as per its previous agreement. The Gautam Buddha International Airport, a national pride project in Bhairava, is all set for the calibration flight. CAN Director General Rajkumar Chetri said all the preparations have been completed for conducting the calibration flight. According to him, the test flight would be conducted within a month from now. CAN will carry out internal preparations in the meantime. CAN said Aerothai will carry out the necessary processes, including bringing the aeroplane and the required technicians for conducting the calibration flight on November 22. This task will be conducted for a week's duration. This is Janata Bulletin. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back after the break. We continue with other national news. The government yesterday confirmed 425 new cases of coronavirus across the country. Following the latest round of tests, the total cases of coronavirus in the country have climbed to 814,929, while the number of active cases has dropped to 7,654. The death toll from coronavirus has climbed to 11,453 after the virus claimed 5 more lives yesterday. Nepal is currently among top 45 countries that have been most affected by the pandemic. The USA tops the list with over 47.41 million confirmed cases, followed by India with over 34.37 million cases. Coronavirus has infected more than 251 million people across the world and claimed over 5.07 million lives. The country is currently witnessing the general impact of a monsoon trough being developed in the Arabian Sea. The Meteorological Forecasting Division has predicted partly to general cloudy weather in the hill areas of the country today, while the sky is expected to remain clear in the rest of the country. Some parts of highlands in Province 1 and Gandaki Province are likely to see light snowfall. On Wednesday, the weather will be partly to generally cloudy in the Karnali and Sudar Paschim provinces and in the hill areas of Province 1, Bagmati Province and Lumbini Province. Light snowfall has been forecast at one or two places of the mountainous regions in the Gandaki Province as well. And now the news from economic front. Nepal Rashtra Bank has started auctioning off treasury bills worth rupees 6.1 billion. Among them, the 91-day treasury bills worth rupees 100 million will mature on February 8 and the 182-day treasury bills worth rupees 6 billion on 10th May 2022. The NRB issues treasury bills to mobilize short-term loans for the government. The online auctioning opened yesterday at 2 p.m. According to the NRB, financial institutions categorized as Group A, B and C by the central bank as well as other financial institutions, non-banks and financial institutions were allowed to participate in the bidding. The central bank will issue the bills to the highest bidders today. Earlier, the central bank had auctioned treasury bills worth rupees 1.66 billion on November 1. Time for a short break here at Janata Bulletin. Stay tuned for international news. Welcome back. Now the international news. Heavy showers and thunderstorms have caused severe flooding in the southern Indian city of Chennai. No deaths have been reported, but officials in the state of Tamil Nadu, of which Chennai is the capital, have issued warnings to evacuate people from low-lying areas. Local media footage showed uprooted trees and cars submerged as water quickly rose to block roads. This is the heaviest rainfall in the city since 2015. Although the city is frequently hit with heavy rains this time of the year, experts say unchecked development and bad urban planning leads to the destruction and chaos. Climate change caused by global warming has also contributed to the problem, making extreme rainfall more likely and more frequent. On Sunday, parts of Chennai faced power cuts of several hours as the power department shut off supply as a precautionary measure to avoid incident of electrocution. Footage showed people being rescued on rubber boats as muddy brown waters gushed into their homes. The National Disaster Response Force and the Army are helping in the rescue work. Most of the main streets have been waterlogged since Saturday, bringing the city to the standstill. Several people on social media said the situation was as grim as the flood of 2015, when over 200 people had lost their lives in the state. The UN humanitarian chief urged Myanmar's military leaders on Monday to provide unhindered access to the more than 3 million people in need of life-saving humanitarian assistance since government forces seized power on February 1. Martin Griffiths warned that without an end to violence and a peaceful resolution of Myanmar's crisis, this number will only rise. He also urged donors to respond to the UN appeal, saying less than half of the $385 million required has been raised since the military ousted the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi. Monday was the first anniversary of the 2020 elections in Myanmar, which were deemed free and fair by domestic and international observers, UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric said they were won by Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy party with approximately 80% of the elected seats in the upper and lower houses of parliament. The military rejects the results, claiming the vote was fraudulent. The United Nations reiterates its call on the military to respect the will of the people and put the country back on track to democratic transition. Dujarric said, stressing that the UN remains gravely concerned about the intensifying violence in Myanmar. You are watching Janata Bulletin, and now the latest from the world of sports. Indian coach Ravi Shastri said his players are physically and mentally drained as the pre-tournament favourites ended their disappointing T20 World Cup campaign with a 9-wicket consolation win over Namibia. India chased 133 with Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul both making half-centuries. Ravindra Jadeja and Ravindra Chandran Ashwin took 316 and 320 in Namibia 132-8. India was unable to reach the semis after defeats to Pakistan and New Zealand in the first two games. The tournament rounded off a jam-packed 11 months for India that has seen a historic test victory in Austria, 8 tests against England and World Test Championship final against New Zealand and White Ball series against England and Sri Lanka. The players have spent almost 6 months in bubbles after arriving in England in early June before the Indian Premier League IPL was completed in the United Arab Emirates between 19 September and 15 October. The first World Cup game was then on 24 October. We are at the end of Janata Bulletin and the headlines once again. Ruling parties decided to cooperate until the upcoming election. Coalition partners form 5-party coordination committee. Taurai region gripped by Chhath festival. Today is the second day of the grand festival. Aero Thai to conduct calibration flight at Gautam Buddha Airport. Test flights to be held from November 22. Heavy rains bring Indian city to standstill. Chennai records the highest rainfall since 2015. And India's cricket coach defends players after T20 loss, says players are physically and mentally drained. And that's all from the English News Desk for today. You can follow Janata Television and our programs on various social media platforms, including on our website janatasamachar.com. Keep watching Janata Television. Namaste.